Hello and welcome back. This is another in the 10-minute tip series of recorded programs for credit and collection pros. This one is titled Things Every Credit Manager Should Know and Do. My name is Michael Dennis. Let's go ahead and jump in. Before we begin, and as a quick FYI, this is an excerpt from a longer 1-hour program titled 101 Things That Credit Professionals Should Know and Do. If you're interested in that program, please contact my sponsor, the Wisconsin Credit Association, for information about that program or any of the other on-demand programs. And with that out of the way, let's jump in. What you should know and do. Find out what your boss considers to be your top 5 priorities. Find a mentor or potentially find more than one mentor. Own the mistakes that you personally make and learn from them. Never miss deadlines. I acknowledge right off that this is harder said than done, but our goal should be to try not to miss deadlines that have been assigned to us. Don't guess at the answers to questions. There's nothing wrong with saying, let me get back to you on that, or let me check, or let me think about it, and I'll get back to you with the correct answer. In any work environment, be enthusiastic about what you do. In interactions with your boss, seek out stretch assignments. What the credit manager should know or do continued. Have a reputation or develop a reputation for being someone who is easy for your boss to manage. In any situation, irrespective of the provocation, keep control of your emotions. Don't delay delivering bad news to your boss. Bad news, unlike wine or cheese, does not get better with age. Try to demonstrate appropriate levels of confidence in the decisions that you make. Be sure that you're working hard on the right thing. Work hard at managing credit risk rather than at eliminating credit risk. Prioritize the work that you do with must-do lists instead of writing endless to-do lists. What you should know or do as a credit manager. You should be less tolerant of behavioral problems than you are of performance-related issues. In my experience, often performance problems relate to inadequate training or potentially inadequate resources. In many events, performance problems are easier to resolve than behavioral problems. As a manager, as a team leader, remember that respect is earned, not given. As a manager, as a team leader, please recognize that you don't have to make every credit decision yourself. And instead, you can delegate some of those decisions, provided that the person to whom you're delegating has sufficient skills and expertise and can do the job competently. As managers and as professionals, we should be seen as innovators. One way to be seen as an innovator is to become an early adopter of new technology. In a similar light, as a manager, it's important to fight against the natural urge that many of us have to fight against change in the workplace. In the meetings that you choose to attend at work, please always take notes. And in the meetings you attend, please speak less and listen more. And in whatever meetings you do attend, don't speak simply to fill a void or fill a silence, or to hear yourself speak. Remember that only Superman can't and shouldn't delegate work to others. In the workplace, be more concerned about doing what's right than about who is or was right. In connection with the actions of your team, in connection with the decisions made by your team, in connection with the performance recorded by your team, be sure that you're sharing the credit when things go well and sharing the blame when they don't. Try to remember to regularly make small incremental improvements because they add up over time. Recognizing that employers often do a great job of documenting performance shortfalls and performance problems rather than accomplishments, please make sure that you're documenting your own achievements and your own accomplishments and that or those of your team members. What you should know and do with the boss. You should keep in mind that just because your boss asks if anyone has any questions doesn't mean they necessarily want you to ask questions. Remember never to challenge your manager's authority directly in a public setting. And by the way, it's probably not a great idea to challenge their authority one-on-one in private either. Feel free to criticize your boss, as long as you're not at work, and as long as you're not speaking to anyone you work with when you are criticizing your boss. What to say and do with the boss. When you present a problem to your manager, offer one or more solutions. Never come to him with a problem without having an idea of what solutions might apply to that problem. And always be ready to explain what solution you prefer and why. Don't sit on the fence. Go ahead and commit to whatever you believe to be the correct answer. When it comes to performance reviews being given by your boss on you, please be sure to leave your ego at the door. What you want to focus is not on what you're hearing and how it might hurt your ego, but what you want to focus on instead are the facts from their perspective and the facts from your perspective. The best way to manage the risk of either slow payment or non-payment involves discussions with your boss. I encourage you on a regular basis to meet with your manager, whoever that is, the CFO, the treasurer, the VP finance, whoever the credit department reports to, and ask them for their advice about how you should be monitoring risk and managing risk, and more fundamentally, when you have a question about a close call, when you really want their advice about their expectations relating to how you would appropriately manage this type of risk. And of course, it's not a one-off. You're going to use that information as a model or a framework for the decisions that you make in the future. In addition, make sure that your manager is aware that on an ongoing basis, your company is facing credit risks. And if at all possible, find ways to quantify those risks for your manager. For example, if possible, ideally you would risk score or rate or rank every one of your active customers. And using that risk ranking, let's just say on a scale of 1 to 10, you could present to them on a regular basis a snapshot in time of what we'll call the comprehensive risk associated with offering open account credit terms to those active customers. What you should know and do with your friends in the sales department. Remember this as an idea of their motivation versus our motivation. Sales wants to make every single sale, while the credit department wants to make every single sale that can be made safely. With this in mind, please don't ever blame the salesperson for being an advocate for their customer or for an applicant company. Their job is to be advocates. So they didn't talk you into doing something. They presented information in a way that suggested that their preferred outcome would be that the credit decision about a customer or an applicant was positive. That's not the same thing as talking you into doing something that you didn't want to do. And please remember that salespeople are considered to be rainmakers, and unfortunately, we, the members of the credit team, are not. What to know and do with customers. Do remember the old adage, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you can negotiate. In interactions with customers, be assertive, but don't be aggressive. Given a choice between making a call or sending some form of written correspondence, do opt for picking up the phone and speaking to the customer directly. When you address with a customer a past due balance, always request and expect immediate payment in full of the entire past due balance. What you should know and what you should do with your credit team. Be sure to measure their performance using multiple performance metrics, not something simple or simplistic like we're going to measure the balance over 90 days past due and that's the only thing we're going to consider and evaluate. Remember this, if your team members don't understand your instructions or directions, it's your fault. If they don't know what is or is not a priority, that's also your fault. Remember not to play favorites between and among members of the credit department team. Why? Because everyone is always watching to see if someone is the favorite of the manager. Give every member of the credit department team the tools they need to track and measure and monitor their own performance against goals. As it relates to goals, set goals and objectives with members of your team, not for members of their team. Train them in interactions with customers never to interrupt an angry or irate customer while that customer is venting. What you should know and do to improve efficiency. Make decisions about pending credit applications when you have sufficient information to do so. Don't wait for perfect information because it takes too long and it costs too much to get. If you're struggling to meet collection targets, then consider using credit holds sooner as well as more often. Well, thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you found this presentation to be useful. If you'd be interested in hearing the entire 30-minute on-demand program on this topic, please contact my sponsor, Wisconsin Credit Association, and have a great day. Bye.